Okay, in this video I want to continue looking at practices and methods that an individual investor person with limited funding, maybe $3,000 to $6,000, might be tempted to engage in via an online broker site in which you can just register for a cash account and get started as soon as the account is set up, trading on your own, all on your own. All right, so you have to pay a fee to buy stock, then you have to pay a fee to sell it, and it ranges from anywhere from $8 to $14 or $15 for the whole thing. 4 to buy, 4 to sell. That's the cheapest of the cheap. 7 or 8 to buy, and then 8 to sell, so that's 16. And there are other ways to do this. Okay, we're not even going to look at options, which is much more like betting than stock trading is. So many of these sites will allow you to do options too, which involve a whole lot more, I think, risk in them. It's enough for us to focus on these methods just to work through our own analysis. So I have one more here, and then I think we'll do a sixth method, and there are more. And you can combine or revise on your own to come up with either more methods or to condense the ones we have into just 2 or 3 basic ones, and these you can call variations from one of those. It's up to you. You can have that sort of leeway if you think about it and come up with another method. Now, one method I'm not discussing is short selling. Perhaps I should. Perhaps that should be method 7. It'll be a quick one because we've discussed this before. It would be good for you to remember what short selling is and the inherent danger behind it. So let's go ahead and do practice number 5, and then we'll do 2 more. This one I'm calling flash panning. By the way, these are my terms. It helps me remember them. And a flash pan, think of a prospector, shuffling through a river looking for gold nuggets in his sieve, and he's got his pan there, right? And he's shaking it around, and he dumps it out and gets a whole new. So what he basically does is he gets a lot of material in that pan, and he moves it around to see a little flash or glitter, and then he further investigates once he sees that. So in the same way, what's going on here is that the individual investor will eventually have a list going of stocks that he knows or she knows she can afford. There might be 100, 200, or 300 stock tickers in this list, but these lists are all, say, within the $2 to $6 range. And the investor, so it's going to have a somewhat of a range like that. Okay, the investor is going to sit back and say, I know I can afford these stocks. Which ones are hot? And not necessarily from the media, because remember, if you're getting the news from the media and you're doing this through normal trading day hours from 9:30 to 4, you are probably late already. Okay, so it's very hard to fight and win the profit that way, although it's very tempting to do so. But if you say, look, I hope that, in fact, I hope that the media doesn't even recognize these stocks in today's news, because when I look through these, let's say 100 stocks early in the morning, I'll start at 9. What you have to do is you have to give the market about an hour. Okay, so if it opens at 9:30 for standard trading hours, you wait till 10:30 so that there's a little bit of a graph developed. And what you do is you have to have the right online help to do this. Now, Yahoo will actually let you do this, so I'm assuming there are other sites that will do the same. They'll let you build a stock portfolio. Now, it's not, to do that, you don't have to actually buy the stock. You just put the stock ticker in, and what they're saying is, here's a little folder for you if you sign up for an email account with us or something, and you can keep track of all these stocks, and every day we'll tell you how they're doing with a small screen. I mean, the screen is basically a ½ inch big. The graph, not even that. No, it's probably a ½ inch. Okay, so then you have like 100 stock tickers, and right to the left of them, or excuse me, to the right of them, is this little graph all at once. So you see all these graphs at once. Okay, that's the best way to do it, so kind of. And you look and you see which graphs are up at 10:30. Which graphs are up? And you pick out of the 100, maybe 5 are going to be steadily up. I mean, I'm talking not the ramp, but I mean not the like hyperbolic twisting up, but a nice steady 45-degree climbing up. and you pick those, and you say, okay, these 5, which one do I think are still going to grow? Because you realize you're late still, okay? You look at certain things, and we'll talk about this later, but then you pick 1 or 2 or whatnot, and you buy stock in that, okay? So what you do is you don't go to the news. You go to your portfolio, your record portfolio, and it could be anywhere. Just Yahoo, again, finance.yahoo.com. If you sign up for an email there, or you sign up to get portfolios, that's what they're talking about. You load it up with your stock tickers, and you can track it all at once. 100, 200 stocks all at once. So you go right to there after an hour of trading that people have done. So 10:30, 10:45, see what the graphs are showing. You scroll through, see which ones are up, and then you buy and sell. And you do it within the hour. You buy right then and there, and you sell. 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes later, you probably should not wait around for an hour. If it takes you an hour to go up, it's probably not going up. You need to sell that. Now, this is also called scalping. That's a term that people may use to refer to this type of trading. See, I call it flash in the pan because you know what? When you end up finding something like that, it lasts. Many of these last just very quickly for that day, for that 2 hours, for that hour, and then they're done. I mean, they're done for the year, okay, or for months. And it truly does seem to be like a flash in the pan. I mean, it showed up once and then it disappeared. It extinguished itself, and it's done. It's not going to come back again as you thought it might. So that's the trouble. All right. Now, here are the problems for the middle class investor. The stock range is probably going to be, if you want quantity profitability threshold. If you want to buy enough to actually sell enough to make a profit on 5 cents going up or 3 cents increase, you probably are going to be within the $2 or $3 stock range. But the trouble with that, if you look through hundreds and try to get hundreds of these up, is you're going to get involved with a lot of long tails. So, again, think of an animal. You got the big old hump of the body up front, and then you got this long tail coming after, because the company already had its heyday. It had its heyday 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and all that. It hasn't gone bankrupt, but all it has now are these little. Its stock value is nothing. It's $1, $2, 50 cents. It's a long tail, all right. And if you look back and you take a look at it at a 2-year view or a 3-year view with a 3-year graph, you're saying no one's ever going to buy anything in this company, because the graphs, it just shows you the company's basically on life support. But if you zoom in to like a 5-day activity window, because you can get graphs that only show you the 5-day activities, the last 5 days, it looks like there's activity going on, and there isn't that microscopic picture. In the long picture, the company's dead. In the short picture, they're still trading these little 50, 40 cent stocks or $1 stocks. So, you're trying to say, okay, there's going to be one day, right? And the assumption is every stock is going to have 15 minutes of fame, but give it for a year. So every year, I would say it's probable that any stock out there, at least one day of the year, is going to have a little bit of a jump on it, okay? And if you're developing your portfolio and you're looking at all these graphs to find that jump, you should it has to be self-discipline and tell yourself, this stock is not. Let me just assume I might be wrong, and then I'll lose money that I could have made, but that's just potential money. But I'm just going to assume that this stock is hot for the next 2 hours, and then it's not going to be hot. It's not going to be growing. It's going to go down again for the rest of the year. So that way, and then you sell within that time frame, you probably won't actually lose any money. You might make $10 instead of $30, but at least you didn't lose 100. So there has to be that willingness to say, I don't care how hot it seems to be in this hour. I need to sell now, and I need to settle for $20 of increase, because this is a flash in the pan. If I take a long view of it, this might be just the 15 minutes of fame that this one stock is going to have for this year. And if I don't sell while it's up, I'm going to be stuck with it when it's down, and then I'm stuck with it for a year if I want to try to just hold on to it to get my money's worth. Or I sell it after a week, and I take a loss. And then as soon as you start taking losses regularly like that, you know, you're doing the opposite of what you should be doing in the stock account. So now the other thing is, look, morning movement is very tricky. Morning movement is tricky. Now, I would not do this in the afternoon because there are plenty of people that do this professionally, the scalping. And you know what they start doing after 12, after 1, they start selling because they need to get out. So the afternoon is really a time of selling, all right? So you want to do this in the morning, but morning movement is tricky. Remember the market manipulation ideas of the logarithms? Now, that was a little bit... there are other ways that the stock can be played with in the morning. But actually, I'm going to stop this video now because of the time, and then I'll come back and finish it up.